acting with the law, then you might think that we are actors. And of course, Robert does look like Arnold Schwarzenegger, but he is not an actor. We are the lawyers from Eurocollectnet. And what we are going to do today is a bit different. It's not just a standard presentation. But just before we begin, I have just one major question on my mind, and I would like to see some hands. And I'm going to wait until everybody gave me his or her answer. How many people like vodka? Who likes vodka? Some hands, please. Yes?
And the next question, who doesn't like but drinks?
Yeah, and who doesn't like vodka? Because this could be a bit of a problem. Okay. Now I'm yeah. Okay, just let's get to the next slide. But this might be a problem. What? And then the slide should. I think this is a bit of a challenge. Kijk. Yes. Okay. What are we going to do? First, a little bit something about Eurocollectnet, who we are and what we do. And then we have a very special case, the case of Piper United against Nasdravia. Then we will have the hearing. Then I will ask you what you think about this case. And then I will also ask you who should win this case. And then, of course, Robert will deliver his judgment. And then, of course, there's also room for questions. Okay. But first, a little bit something about Eurocollectnet, because some of you asked me what we are and what we do. Eurocollectnet is an association of independent law firms, mainly European law firms, and we work closely together in the association in order to collect debts. And we step in as soon as the shit hits the fan. Because, of course, then it should be a difficult debt, and then we can help you. We do this mainly in Europe, but we have also members from other parts of the world, so we can do this on an international scale. And I will first introduce us. My name is Twan Hitsvert, and I'm the member from the Netherlands. Please introduce yourself.
My name is Sylwia Kilińska. I'm a member from Poland. I work with Eureka Legal Law Office in Warsaw, and we are a member of Eurocollectnet.
My name is Andra Carabineru, and I'm a member from Romania. Thank you.
Well,
And then, of course, the one and only.
I told you everything already. I'm Robert Schulz. I'm German, but I'm not representing Germany. I'm representing Russia.
Okay. Thank you very much. Okay, and then now the thing, of course, you all came for, the case. And I think it's quite a special case. And then, of course, ECN is a one-stop shop. Yes, the case. Please take just a moment to read this story, and I will also tell something about it. So this is the case between Piper United and Nasdravia. And Piper United is a very famous producer of potatoes, because Piper is the Dutch word for potato. And Piper United produces very special potatoes. The potatoes produced by Piper United are very special because they can be used for distillation purposes. And then on the other side, we have the Polish company of Nasdravia. And I do hope that I pronounce it correctly. And of course, yes.
More or less.
More or less. Okay. And of course, I did not have to mention that Nasdravia is Polish for cheers. But Nasdravia is a highly regarded distillery and producer of the very famous Krakow goose. And this is, of course, a very special Polish vodka. And Piper United and Nazdravje Corporation, they are working together for quite some years because Nazdravje uses the potatoes delivered by Piper United. But this relationship, and as I mentioned, this is a long-lasting relationship, this has been under pressure lately because of a shipment of potatoes that was not that good. So they had some quality issues. And because of this, Nazdravje is claiming that they do not want to pay the last 2 invoices sent by Piper United. And because of the poor quality of the potatoes delivered, a production run of the Krakow goose went acidic. So this, of course, is a major problem for Nazdravje. And yeah, they tried to handle this case, and they talked about this, but they did not manage to reach a solution. So now Piper United is starting legal proceedings in Amsterdam. So please take it away. First, maybe you can.
So, the claimant started legal proceeding at the court in Amsterdam. I am the judge of this court in Amsterdam. And, well, it's not clear until now if there was really a fault in the delivery or not. So please, this is the lawyer of the claimant. Please give your statement of claim.
Thank you. Well, I would like to begin by showing that between the parties there were dealings for over many years. Basically, the relationship between the parties went as follows. Nazdravje would send an order making reference to its terms and conditions. Then Piper United would then send an invoice which contained its own terms and conditions. Nazdravje would then sign and approve the invoices for payment. Therefore, Piper United is entitled to assume that the buyer had agreed to the contract on Piper United's terms and conditions, as Nazdravje signed the invoices with no objections. The contract is considered accepted through the act of performance, and the last set of terms exchanged between the parties become those which could be seen by the court as applicable. Now, as mentioned, Piper United terms and conditions are governing the long-lasting relation between the parties. During this long-lasting relation between the parties, the potatoes are always delivered ex works, meaning that Piper United fulfilled his obligation to deliver the goods when the potatoes were made available for the buyer to our premises, which are in Amsterdam. Under provision of Article 7.1a and b from Brussels 1, in matters of disputes arising from a contract, the competence for solving the dispute belongs to the court for the place of performance of the obligation in question. In our case, sale of goods, the place of performance is the place where under contract the potatoes were delivered, which means in Amsterdam. Therefore, we appreciate that the competent court in solving this dispute is the Dutch court. With reference to the applicable law, as mentioned before, Piper United's terms and conditions are governing the relation between the parties. These terms and conditions establish that the contract is governed by the Dutch law, the provision of Article 3 of Roma 1 being applicable. In the event that the court would appreciate that the provision of Article 3 of Roma 1 are not applicable, we would like to state that under Article 4 of Roma 1, a contract for the sale of goods shall be governed by the law of the country where the seller has his habitual residence, meaning the Dutch law in our case. Now, Nazdravje refuses to pay the last 2 invoices, arguing that they suffered damages because of several problems with the quality of the potatoes delivered lately, claiming that a couple of production become acidic. Considering that the potatoes were delivered always ex works, the buyer is the one who bears all the risks related to the goods, meaning loading them onto a truck, transferring them to a train, ship or plane, perhaps multiple times, handling customs procedure, and unloading them at their destination, and of course, storing them. We would like to show that there is no evidence that at any moment whatsoever the buyer complained about the pretended poor quality of the potatoes. There is no note of default whatsoever. It was not proved that the production became acidic because of the poor quality of the potatoes. We might as well assume that the production has become acidic as a result of the way the potatoes were transported or stored, or as a result of the way the distillation was carried out. This is why we asked the court to rule against Nazdrovje and order Nazdrovje to pay the outstanding invoices. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Now it's your turn to give the statement of defendants.
Dear Honor, at the beginning, let me introduce some facts about the cooperation between the companies. So, as it was said, it was a long-lasting relationship between companies. Nazdrovje is a producer of a really high-quality vodka, and vodka is like almost national drink of Poland. So you can imagine how important is it to have a good vodka in Poland. So, because it was so important for the Nazdrovje company, it was a big research before Nazdrovje decided to choose the provider of potatoes. So Nazdrovje was looking for the provider in Poland, but unfortunately the quality of potatoes from Poland were not so good. That's why decided to look for the contractor outside the Poland. And Piper United is a very well-known specialist on an European market, and produce like high-quality potatoes, which are useful for utilization and produce alcohol. That's why Nazdrovje decided to cooperate with Piper United. So just to give you the general view how the relationship started. Nazdrovje invited representatives of Piper United to Poland just to tell them about the production, to show them how the production looks like, to taste Polish Krakow Goose vodka, and Piper United knew that it's a high quality vodka. And everything was going very good, and the relationship was really good, and both parties were happy that they are business partners. But unfortunately one day, vodka wasn't so good anymore. And although the process of making vodka was exactly the same, so only probably, maybe not probably, but the taste of potatoes was bad. Because of that, many clients were complaining, were angry, were anxious, and Nazdrovje lost many clients and suffered damages. That's why Nazdrovje decided not to pay the last invoices of Piper United, because suffered damages and the total amount of damages is much higher than the total amount of due invoices. Regarding the legal status, I confirmed that terms and conditions were signed, but they were not signed by the authorized person on behalf of Nazdrovje. So it means that they cannot apply in this case because not authorized person signed them on behalf of Nazdrovje. Taking into account that, at the beginning we need to talk about the jurisdiction and the competent court. In opinion of Nazdrovje, the competent court should be the Polish court because of the general rule that the company should be sued in a state where its registered offices. So, because Nazdrovje is based in Poland, generally it should be sued in front of a Polish court, not the Dutch court. So, in our opinion, the competent court is not the Dutch court; it's a Polish court. There is one more issue regarding the applicable law. In terms of conditions of both sides, there are nothing about the applicable law. Taking into account that, we need to look at the regulation of European Union, which says yes that if it's the contract of sale, then generally the applicable law should be the law of the seller. But we also need to take into account the proper law and links between Poland and Netherlands. So the relationship between parties usually has closer links with Poland than with Netherlands. As at the beginning, the contract was concluded in Poland, not in Netherlands. Representatives of Netherlands were invited to Poland just to see the whole production. The whole production is based in Poland, and potatoes are only a small product of the whole production. That's why, in the opinion of Nazdrovie, the proper law and the applicable law should be Polish law, not Dutch law. Regarding the quality, trust is really important in business, and parties were contracting for a long time, and the quality of potatoes was always at a high level. So Nazdrovie didn't expect that potatoes can be somehow wrong. That's why Nazdrovie used all potatoes to produce vodka, because they are what they are for. But unfortunately, clients, where they tasted the vodka made from this part of delivery, they were saying that the vodka is not so good, so something is wrong with vodka. But the whole production process was exactly the same. We also invited representatives of Piper United to Poland to taste this vodka, and they confirmed that the taste of this vodka was not so good as it used to be. So taking into account all the circumstances, in opinion of Nazdrovie, like the claim for payment, due invoices is unjustified, because Nazdrovie suffered damages which are much higher than due invoices. Thank you.
Well, I have some questions to the attorneys. First to you. I understood you right, that you and that the two parties exchanged terms and conditions. First you sent yours, and then the claimant sent his. These terms and conditions have been mentioned in the invoice.
That's true.
The invoice has been signed by you, by your company, whoever it was.
It was signed, but not by the person who is authorized to sign, to represent the company.
It has been signed by a person of your company.
Someone from the company, that's true.
You returned the signed invoice to the claimant.
Yeah, that was a long-lasting relationship. We were ordering and we were paying. So
No, I'm just asking, did you return the signed invoice to the claimant?
I did. Not my client did.
Okay. In the terms and condition is stated that the applicable law is Dutch law.
It was what Nazdrovie has never approved.
I didn't ask you if you approved it. I asked you if in the invoice and in the terms and condition of the claimant is stated that the applicable law for the contract between the two parties is Dutch law.
It is.
Is it also stated in the terms and conditions that the applicable and responsible court is the Dutch court?
No, it wasn't.
It was not, as far as I understood it was.
No, it wasn't.
Okay, it was not. What do you say in the terms and conditions?
Well, the potatoes were always delivered ex-works. So
No. I'm asking if in the terms and conditions
there was.
of your client,
The Dutch court was chosen.
and you could show this.
Yes.
Okay. The delivery, you took the potatoes from the premises of the claimant, as far as I understand.
That's true.
So it was ex-works. It was not just written in the terms and conditions, it was even by fact ex-works.
I confirm that it was ex-work.
Okay. Are there any samples left?
Unfortunately not, because Nazdrovie didn't expect that the quality of potatoes can be
Uh-huh.
wrong.
So you didn't just return the signed invoice, you just used all of the potatoes for the production of vodka.
Yes, but then we invite representatives of the company just to try this vodka and they confirmed that the quality is bad and the whole production.
Yeah, okay, we will
was
come to
exactly
that
the
point.
same.
We will come to that point. Did you change anything in the production and the growth of the potatoes?
No, we haven't.
Did you change anything in the
No,
distillation or whatever
no,
process?
everything exactly the same.
Okay. What was wrong with the potatoes? Have they been black instead of yellow? Have they been smashed already because they were too old? Did they have not enough liquid or too much? What was wrong with the
Here's that,
potatoes?
as far as I know, the potatoes from outside, they look just like normal potatoes, like the potatoes were used before to produce vodka. So something was wrong inside the potatoes, not outside potatoes.
But how do you know? Maybe there was something wrong with some other ingredients, with the distillation process, with whatever, with the temperature, with the transportation, with the storage.
But we have like quality standards, and at each level of production, these quality standards are checked, and the whole process of making vodka was exactly the same. And at each level, it passed. So it means that at the end, it was something wrong.
Yeah, but what was wrong? You know, you didn't check the potatoes, you didn't check the other ingredients. So what was wrong? Nobody knows. But you have to prove that it has been the potatoes, because otherwise you cannot win the case. Very easy. And because there are no samples, it would be very hard for you to prove that the potatoes were wrong.
What can I say?
Well, actually, I don't have any more questions. So, Toyn,
Will you accept amicus?
Except what, right?
Amicus, friend of the court. The question, there are two questions. Was the quality control effective at the seller's end prior to boarding of the product into the trucks?
this doesn't interest me. Sorry.
I understand, but there are factors relating to the quality of the product. Plus, it's a consumer good. It's not just a product put into a machine and driven around. You're talking about a consumable. So there are consumer aspects to this that need to be called into question, because should the quality have failed at that end and it had not been caught, it begs the question that if there was not a written quality control done on this batch of product, then it cannot be claimed that the interior of the potato was responsible for the ultimate failure in the product. And in addition, you have to consider today, that's a national brand, presumably. Consumer item. Goes all over the country, is prioritized in purchasing. What about terrorism? If somebody injected in the transition process a virus into that vodka, it would have gone all the way through the system. Yeah. Why didn't you guys negotiate a settlement before going to court? This is crazy. How much money are we talking about?
Well, thank you. I think Patrick is going to appeal your judgment, but first I would who said that they liked vodka? Some hands, please. Okay. So, yes, you had the potato vodka. Okay, I'm just very curious. Which party should be the winning party? This one is turned on, so maybe you can take this one. Yeah.
It's a very difficult question, but.
But of course, as a vodka specialist, you should know and you should be able to say something about this vodka case.
Sorry, but I'm more on the Polish side.
Oh, okay, on the podium. Okay, yeah. Okay, thank you. Just, what do you think about this case? First, do you like vodka?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
Mainly, but I prefer Palinka because I'm Hungarian. Mm-hmm. But I think I'm a food engineer as well, so mainly there was gaps in the process, because it should be, checked every point of the process. But I think in this case, I would say the Polish one should win.
The Polish one should win.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, thank you. And just one other, looking for another vodka lover. Okay, yeah, another vodka lover. Hi.
I'm not a vodka lover. It's just I have an opinion different than the two before me.
Yeah.
So I was paying attention, and during the presentation that they had, it was mentioned by the Polish side that the potatoes are just only one small step in the process of the production. So.
But the
This
most
is a
important,
confirmation
I mean,
that
like the most
obviously
important product.
I'm not denying this, but it's just like confirming that is not the quality of the vodka is not linked only with the quality of the potatoes, and obviously not having the quality checked, it's also a little tricky. So I incline to give my vote to them. Dutch side. Not
Sure.
only is because it's represented by a Romanian, and I'm Romanian, but
Okay.
it's just a coincidence, okay?
Okay, thank you very much. Okay, then I think we should ask the court to deliver its judgment.
In the name of Queen and King, or in the name of the Republic, or whatever, the monarchy, the following decision has to be announced.
We stand when the ruling is ongoing. That's why I'm standing.
Sorry?
We stand when the judge is talking.
Yeah, okay. The defendant has to pay to the claimant the amounts of the last not paid invoices, plus the interest applicable by law, plus the defendant has to cover the costs and to bear the costs of the proceeding. Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah. One more
The-
question. Why do you think this is the best?
I was
judgment?
going to say
Okay,
this.
sorry.
Well, first of all, me, the Court of Amsterdam, the judge of this court, is responsible for this case because, first of all, the court is of the opinion that the parties agreed about the jurisdiction in Holland because the defendant signed the invoice, having being in the possession of the terms and conditions which are mentioned there, signed it and returned it. So they accepted what's
That's
written
doubtful.
in the terms and conditions. That first applies for the jurisdiction, and secondly, it also applies for the applicable law. But even if we would say there is no agreement about these 2 points, then, according to the jurisdiction, applies Article 7(1)(a) of the European regulations called Brussels I, where is written that the jurisdiction is where the obligation of the contract has to be fulfilled and has been fulfilled, and this was in Amsterdam, ex-works. And the applicable law would go after Article 4(1)(a) of Rome I, where it's written that the applicable law is the one of the seller, and this is the claimant. Talking about the material law side of the case, there is absolutely no proof from the defendant's side that the potatoes were bad and that the reason for maybe a worse taste of the last 2 productions of vodka, that grounds for that are in bad potatoes or whatever. There is no notice of fault. There is no precise, concrete notice of fault. What was wrong with the potatoes? Why should the potatoes be the reason for a bad taste of the last productions? There's absolutely no proof, and you cannot just drink a beer, finish it, and after that you say the beer was bad. You know, this is you can taste and say, well, I don't like the beer because it's black and not brown, but or it doesn't taste, but you cannot finish it. And then you say it was bad. You know, this is not possible. Then you cannot prove it anymore. So we don't have any samples. We don't have nothing. We don't have any proof. That's why the award has to be like it has been announced. Thank you.